What if Han Solo never joined the rebellion? What if instead of helping topple the Empire, he built an empire of his own, one made out of spice, credits, and blaster bolts? In this alternate Star Wars timeline, Han Solo doesn't just survive the criminal underworld, he rules it. Today we are going to explore a darker path, one where Han Solo doesn't get pulled into the rebellion, but instead builds a galactic empire of his own, forged in the fire of the underworld. What if the Falcon wasn't just a smuggler ship, but the flagship of a crime syndicate? What if Han Solo outgunned the Hutts, outwitted Black Sun, and turned the tables on the Empire itself? This is the story of Han Solo and the Corellian Jackals. This is the Underworld's rise to power. It begins like most legends do, with a single hand of Sabbat. Han Solo wins the Millennium Falcon in a backroom game that smells of spice, sweat, and desperation. The crowd roars, Lando protests, but Han only smirks. Cocky, sharp, and hungry for something more. This isn't just a ship, it's his shot at freedom and power. But Corellia never lets go of his children so easily. In the underworld of Corellia, Han sees opportunity, not just to survive, but to conquer. He's tired of running spice for Hutts and dodging bounty hunters, tired of owing favors to gangsters who couldn't fly straight if their lives depended on it. And so he makes a choice. He won't work for the cartels. He'll outplay them, outgun them, outrun them. With Chewbacca at his side, Han begins to build something new, the Corellian Jackals. Not a gang, not a rebellion, a family of thieves, outcasts, slicers, and smugglers, bound by loyalty, not fear. Their creed? Do the job, split the score, watch each other's backs. Their target? Anything that lines Imperial pockets or feeds Hutt appetites. In this timeline, Han Solo isn't looking for a cause. He's carving out an empire with charm, grit, and the fastest ship in the galaxy. From Corellia to Nar Shaddaa, whispers of the Corellian Jackals spread like fire through the underworld. Han doesn't build an army, he builds a legend. He unites rival smuggling crews through charm or challenge, flips ex-Imperials with promises of freedom and fortune, and outmaneuvers Hutts who once put prices on his head. The Jackals aren't just smugglers anymore, they're an operation. They hijack an Imperial spice freighter over Kessel, turning it into their flagship. They hack surveillance networks on Coruscant, blackmailing governors and admirals. They even steal a prototype cloaking device, installing it right onto the Falcon. The Empire takes notice, and so does the rebellion. Leia Organa meets Han not in a rescue mission, but across a negotiation table. She's desperate for supplies. He's willing to deal, but for a price. They're Bantal crackers. Sparks fly. Trust does not. Still, Han begins to change, not all at once, but in moments. When Chewie saves a child from an Imperial patrol, when Envy's refuses to sell weapons to slavers, when Leia calls him better than the scum he pretends to be. And somewhere deep inside, the smuggler starts to wonder, can you rule the underworld without becoming its worst monster? Every syndicate has a moment that defines its legend. For the Jackals, it's the Kessel Heist. Han targets an Imperial convoy transporting raw coaxium, fuel powerful enough to start a war. The job is suicidal. Evade TIE patrols, slice Imperial protocols, and dive into the maw. But madness is Han's specialty. Chewbacca shreds enemy fighters. Sana spoofs Imperial IDs. Jackals launch synchronized raids across the 3 systems as a distraction. The Falcon emerged from the maelstrom with a full cargo and 100 stories whispered across the galaxy. Han Solo did the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs. Again, this time with the Empire chasing and half the Hutts swearing vengeance. The job ruptures the Pike Syndicate. It humiliates Jabba. But most of all, it makes Han Solo a symbol, not just of defiance, but of possibility. As Han's legend grows, so does the danger. Jabba the Hutt, desperate to protect his empire, partners with the Empire. A bounty the size of a Star Destroyer is posted. Han lets them catch him, cause he has one final con to play. Earlier, during the Kessel heist, he planted a whisper in Jabba's court, a trail of bait too good for the Hutt to ignore. Now, frozen in carbonite, he's the bait, and the fuse for the fall of the Hutt Empire. He's frozen in carbonite, delivered to Jabba's palace. Everyone thinks the game is over. But the moment Han thaws and smiles, they realize they've been played. The Jackals strike, disguised as entertainers, guards, and servants. They've infiltrated the palace for weeks. As Han thaws, they unleash hell. Chewbacca leads a frontal assault through the main gates. Envy's nest emerges from the shadows with a thermal detonator. Sana hijacks the palace security systems, turning turrets on guards. A hidden Jackal cell detonates charges beneath Jabba's throne room. And with one searing bolt, Jabba the Hutt dies. The palace erupts in chaos. Tunnels collapse. Slicers drain Jabba's vaults. The Hutt cartel fractures overnight. Han doesn't just escape, he takes Jabba's seat. This is Han at his most cunning. Every step was planned, every lie a setup. But while the con works, the cost begins to mount. The war between Empire and Rebellion ignites. In the chaos, Han Solo becomes something else, a kingpin with a navy. Leia reaches out. They meet, not as lovers, but as negotiators. Han offers support, but for a price. The Falcon delivers full to Mon Cala. Jackals sabotage Star Destroyers. Han stirs revolts inside Stormtrooper barracks. He plays both sides, but never commits. Chewbacca grows wary. Some Jackals defect. Han doesn't flinch. He's building something bigger than either side will admit. But it weighs on him. He watches friends fall, sees his name whispered in fear, feels Leia's disappointment like a phantom limb. When Endor comes, he doesn't fight for freedom, he fights for control. The Jackals descend, turning the tide. The second Death Star is destroyed. But when the dust settles, Han is already gone. Han Solo becomes more than legend. His syndicate becomes a shadow network feeding the New Republic. But corruption lingers. He and Leia never settle. Their bond is real, but fractured. Han rules with charm and fire. He redefines crime as control. His enemies vanish. His legend grows. Chewbacca stays by his side. Part bodyguard, part conscience. Some whisper he's the only thing keeping Han from becoming what he wants to spy. And in the Outer Rim, the name Solo means one thing. Not hope, not rebellion, but power. This What If didn't just change the heroes and villains, it rewrote the rules of the Star Wars galaxy itself. If you enjoyed this journey into the dark heart of the Underworld, be sure to like, subscribe, and tell us your favorite twist in the comments below. What story should we rewrite next? Until then, trust no deals, never bet against the Falcon, and remember, in this galaxy, anything is possible.